Welcome back to Winning with Wiseman. My name's Alex Haynes, your producer and host of this amazing podcast, and I'm here with two amazing men in the L3 Media studio. Excited to talk to them. Welcome to Cameron and Zen. Can you please, real quick, tell us a little about yourself and why you're here today?
Sir, you first.
Sure. Zen Hunter Ishikawa. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer at Wiseman Commercial. I handle acquisitions, leasing, new business, third-party brokerage, help with construction, as well as property management, new business development, and very excited to be here.
Very excited to have you here as well. And obviously Cameron, and before we even get far into this, let me tell you a little bit about Cameron. This man is taking a reel in the middle of actually filming this podcast. So tell us what you do, Cameron.
So my name is Cameron Macias. I am the co-owner of Forward Learning Group, as well as the co-owner of L3 Media, which is this amazing studio we're in right now. 18 years in the Air Force and originally from the Bay Area.
Excellent. Thank you both for being with us on this podcast. If you're new to this podcast, Winning with Wiseman is all about highlighting the tenants that work with Wiseman and our partners and who've decided to work with us and showing the amazing things they do. And I'm really excited to have both of you here. It's such a pleasure. If you don't know who I am, I'm Alex Haynes. I'm one of the owners of A Squared, and I actually am doing work with L3 Media. We've decided to work with them to be our podcast studio. That's why we're here today. I'm super excited to be here in this location because this location is really unique. Do you guys want to jump into it?
Sure.
All right. So, Cameron, talk to me a little bit about L3 Media. Really sum up what you're doing and what you hope to do this next year with it, like in one sentence. What are you trying to do?
Expand. I mean, that's really what we're trying to do. We inadvertently became the pretty much only production studio in Solano County. And so the goal is to, take that and run with it.
Very cool. Very cool. And for those who don't know, because not everyone here understands our audience, right? What a studio actually means. I do because I run a marketing consulting company, right?
For sure.
But for the businesses, which I'm super excited to have this, you have no idea. Let me just tell you, I am so excited to have something like this at my fingertips to be offer my clients, but explain to them why this is so valuable.
Valuable because this isn't just like a space that's rented out to do like a photo shoot, right? Valuable because this is a space that is built with every intention of being used for the client. Not only do we have this particular studio space, but we have a bigger space that's out there that holds even more people. Wall to wall, this space is built for people to use for production. We have the lights, we have the cameras, we have the power sources. We have a quiet building that we don't have to worry about too much noise. We have a safe building, a place that people can really take advantage of that is not kind of like, we're just using it for the moment. This place is here and it will grow as our clients grow.
Yeah, speaking of locations, this is why we actually invited Zen. I believe Zen was a huge part of why you're here right now. Is that true?
Definitely. 100%. Yeah. So we know Zen, Glenn and I, my business partner from Rotary, actually. So one of my mentors said, hey, if you want to get out in the community, go check out Rotary. We went to Rotary. We built a relationship with Zen over the last 2 or 3 years. And we were originally at a co-working space. And Zen came up to us and said, hey, I kind of see what you guys are doing because we're friends on social media, things like that. And said, what if I could get you into a space? Can I at least show you this space? And we said, yeah, of course you can at least show us. And so we came to this building. He actually showed us a different space, which wouldn't work very well for the studio. Was great for like the business purposes, but it wasn't as big as we needed it. And so we said, what else you got? And he said, cool, let's walk across the hall. And so my business partner and I walked into this room and we instantly looked at each other and thought, this is exactly where we need to be at. And within 3 weeks, we were in there.
Wow. So how close is that story to accurate? Was it just like a pipe? Was that just the nice version, the pipe dream version? Or was that the fairy tale? Was that the reality?
That's the goal. And, it's always nice to hear when someone, acts out the goal of the vision of what we're trying to do. So we really do separate between the long-term tenants that are signing 5 or 10-year terms. Those could be big banks or engineering firms or law firms or large marketing corporations, professional services, or what we've introduced recently to our portfolio, and really, we have about 500,000 square feet of Class A office, is flexible terms for startup companies. You really need to promote companies' expansion and growth and scaling capability by having flexible, customizable terms, not just customizable spaces. So we have integrated, in most of our buildings, a dedicated space to have for shorter terms or flexible terms in as-is condition. So that's basically what the situation was here, and we've done that now several times throughout the portfolio.
I think that's huge. We were in another session, you weren't part of that, and one of the things your tenant said, and I thought, and this just goes right into it because I didn't prompt this answer, I didn't script this out, that they said you really worked with them. That other people, they don't do that. They go, this is the space, take it or leave it. Right. That you guys go that extra effort and make that space usable and useful and win with that Wiseman mentality, right?
I appreciate that because we do take extra efforts to not only lease our smaller spaces. A smaller space might be 1,000 square feet or 500 square feet or even 2,000 square feet, but really we're talking about individual rooms that we're leasing out to individual companies or individual sole proprietors. And the idea, of course, is to make sure that we are supporting the business community from the beginning, the startup phase, and getting them to a point where they can establish a larger presence in not just our buildings, in our market, but in Solano County and the Northern California region.
I think that's so huge. And thank you for all that insight and collaborating that fairy tale story, so to speak. And this location, if you're interested, I believe there's some open spots here, right?
Yes. Well, yeah, we purchased the Solano Innovation Center located at 220 Campus Lane in Fairfield about a year ago. And it was a building that was empty, completely empty. Wiseman Commercial is a value add investor, so we purchase buildings that have low to zero occupancy, and we lease those up to add value. So we're doing that with this building, and we absolutely have space in the building. The second floor where we are has about 15,000 square feet available, and downstairs we also have about 5,000 or 10,000 square feet available, depending on the configuration. But yeah, we do events. We promote the building by having multiple tours in creative ways. And it's really great to have Cam here because he always brings people to the building, and he's also a great salesperson for the property.
Yeah. So, Cameron, you've been here for a little while.
Yep.
There's, like we said, there's a lot of space. Something we talked off screen about was goals. And one of the reasons I'm excited that you're here at the Solano Innovation Center is one of your specific goals. Would you mind just peeling back, letting us look through that keyhole a little bit of what you're hoping to do without giving anything away? Because I know you're like, we can't talk about it yet. We're still working out some details, but maybe give us a little sprinkling of what that dream might look like in the next year or two.
Well, I can talk about the dream.
Okay, talk about the dream.
So, the second floor currently stands. There's only 2 tenants here. It's myself and another tenant, right? And so that's been great for noise reduction, but it's also been great just for like vision wise, because as we bring more and more people here, this has become a very collaborative space. This has become a space where like people are like, man, I have ideas that just run here. And so one of our goals is to honestly take over the second floor. So if you think about renting it, stay away. No, I'm playing. But we want to like partner with all these other businesses that come into the building. It's like, hey, let's build this ecosystem of businesses that are not only supporting each other, but helping reach new milestones. I've been a recruiter in the Air Force for 11 years. I know how to sell. That's a thing, right? I have no problem being on camera. We know the media side. Well, guess what? There is like an e-commerce business in the building. Maybe they want to get better at showcasing their products and things of that nature, There's all these different businesses that can then come together to really like create a space where all these different ideas are growing. And Solano County, historically hasn't grown a whole lot. But we've reached kind of a precipice at the current moment to where it can. And so the more of us that band together, specifically in an innovative way in the Innovation Center, that's how we do that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that approach. And I know both of you have some interesting, fun plans. We'll get into that in a second. About what you might be able to do with this location, some things you're hoping to accomplish. As someone from the outside who got introduced to both of you, it's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun to work with you guys and collaborate. And like we said, my business has recently partnered with you, and we're hoping to bring more clients and help our clients go to the next level. Especially, I love having a studio in my local area because for a consultant, I can go, you need to create content, and no longer the answer is, well, I don't know how, or I don't have a place.
Yeah.
I go, I know the plan.
remove excuses.
I will give you the plan, and I have the most amazing studio. You can go instantly sit down, set up, and then I'll have tons of content to work with. So,
For sure.
especially in today's age, with marketing being social, where it is video is the number one thing you do, I think what you set up is key to a lot of business success. So, I think
Can I
that's
mention
huge.
something?
Please.
In commercial real estate, in a building, there's a concept called tenant mix. And tenant mix means you shouldn't have all lawyers, or you shouldn't have all banks, or you shouldn't have all, you name the trade. And so the key to the success that we're seeing in Solano County, Napa, and Yolo County is that we really pay close attention to tenant mix. And that kind of touches on this topic of an incubator or something that brings small companies together. You obviously have to have a diversity of types of businesses. And so you have to focus very carefully on what tenants you put together with each other. You've probably heard of a co-working space. There are co-working spaces. A famous one was WeWork, which doesn't really exist anymore. But
It may be infamous now, unfortunately.
yeah. And so the idea of, a lot of people don't understand that, a co-working space is different from like an incubator or an accelerator. And there are these different types of spaces that are converted into helping small companies grow. The point that I think we're trying to do, or Cam and I are trying to focus on, is bringing a diversity of tenants together that can help each other, work together with each other. And so different diversity of events, that, diversity of investors, a diversity of vendors that can help those companies grow. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of context.
Yeah, I love that idea.
When people are around other people who have big dreams, it just makes them dream bigger. And I think that's really important for like the ecosystem we have now, is like you need to be around, stop kind of just being alone and maybe a little shop here or there. Like come to an ecosystem that dreams big to allow you to dream even bigger than what you thought.
So this is something I'll go into my own podcast, a little drop there for my own little stuff. But something I'm going to talk about is I've run into so many businesses that are so afraid of sharing resources. They have such a narrow mindset because they're afraid to lose any work. Whereas as a consulting firm, one of the things we absolutely decided to do straight up is we don't want to do it all. We have to outsource this because there are people who are going to do it better, cheaper, faster than us. Let's make sure our clients get those people, and let's make sure we elevate everyone to that next level. Because I think there's a huge potential in Solano County. So why we're here. Yeah. We're 30, 40 minutes away from Sacramento. We're an hour and a half from San Francisco. Yeah. We are the perfect spot for a huge amount of growth. And I am so excited to see what the next 5 years are going to bring us.
That's another thing, that we do as a company is we bring I don't want to say massive, but most of our business actually comes from outside Solano County. So, that's not normal for Solano County. We usually send our money out. We don't get a whole lot of money in. 85% of our clients are from the Bay Area or from Stockton, Tracy area. So now we're actually bringing these people into the ecosystem here, and they're like, oh, Fairfield's like not actually bad. Like this, everyone that walks in this building is like, I love just how professional this feels when I walk into this building. And like, I feel like I'm going to be taken care of. Like they say that without us asking them, they're just like, this is amazing. We're like, for sure. That's the standard of excellence that we expect.
Yeah. And for Wiseman, what I've realized is that's the starting level. That prestige is, that's step one. That's like ground level built in, and everything else is extra. Yeah. Right. And that's what I've seen over and over again, which really goes to the testament of the mindset that Wiseman brings to the table, that you guys go that extra mile. And I kind of want to shift a little bit back to the concept that, and this is, hopefully I don't get myself in trouble with saying this, so correct me if I'm wrong, But I don't see a lot of companies going out of the way to promote their tenants and do something like this.
Yeah, so for me, maybe I'm a non-traditional salesperson, but the idea behind the traditional commercial real estate style of selling or attracting tenants to me is not something that I can connect with as well. So I look at what are the resources that we have. We have 150 tenants. We have like 4,000 people in our buildings throughout about 11 buildings. And how can we leverage what they have to offer and what they need with each other? So I'm constantly thinking about when I'm renewing a tenant or attracting a new tenant to a building, what can I offer them first? I'm going to step out of my way to offer something that they can't get elsewhere right away. Several tenants of mine in Fairfield, we have introduced them to the city, or we brought the mayor, to the tour, or we do different things to kind of roll out the welcome red carpet to make them feel like this is a group that really cares about them, and that's actually true. I mean, you can only do so many things before people realize that you actually genuinely mean the thing that you're doing over and over and over again. So for us, how can we bring unilaterally without any commitment to at least some value to you first? And then from there, of course, it's natural to develop a relationship. And from there, of course, the next step is, well, what's the next obvious step? Well, let's work together even closer. Because we do like to work with as vendors for our company, we do like to work with tenants specifically.
Very cool. And I think that shows. And I think as we dive a little bit more into what I wanted to get to, funnily enough, this has all been a preamble to the next section. And the next section really comes down to, we talked about where you started. We talked about this amazing location. Let's talk about what you're doing in the community. Because I know some stuff our audience doesn't know. I do. That's why we're here today. And I am so excited to get into that because both of you are community minded. Both of you are doing things and trying to set up the community in such a way that I was a little bit shocked. I was like, wow, talk about going that extra mile. Talk about doing some stuff and really investing in the community. So let's start, Zen, with community outreach you guys are doing and how Cameron's also involved in that.
Yeah, so over the approximately 50 years that Wiseman Company, which now, as of 2022, we became Wiseman Commercial, has been in business and operation in Solano, Yolo, Napa counties, Northern California. We have always focused on being a community developer. So what that means is we're first and foremost a real estate development company. We focused on office buildings for the last, let's say, 40 years. Actually, originally they were involved in housing, individual houses and apartment complexes, but for a long time focused on Class A offices with some retail in some of the locations. And more recently, actually a little bit back into apartment communities. We can talk a little bit more about that later. But the philanthropy that we've done, we're not a huge company, so we can't do everything all the time. But whenever we can support, education, youth causes, as well as ways that we can just, in general, support the community in terms of things that are not directly tied to our business, but just support society, we've done that. And we continue to do that on a regular basis. We stay, most of our team has some kind of philanthropic or service activity that they do in their spare time. And so that helps to get the word out, but also to, I'm trying to attract the people who are community service oriented to the team.
Cameron, how do you fit into all this? Because I know both of you are working on a special project.
Yeah.
So walk me a little bit as L3 Media. We just heard from Wiseman, way bigger company, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
How does a small company work with Wiseman, and what are you guys trying to bring to this market?
Yeah. So, I mean, through what we do with Rotary and partnering, with Rotary members and doing the community activities we do with them alone, L3 Media and Forward Learning Group, which is the two companies that are housed here, we are looking at building programs One of those big programs is, we're starting the committee for the Super Bowl coming next year. So the goal is bring the community together and decide, hey, obviously one of the biggest events in the world that's going to be in our backyard. How can we benefit the people of this county, the Bay Area as a whole, right? And so we as a company really try and partner with our bigger, collaborators, because they have access to resources and also just have guidance that we may not have, right? Like Zen's been huge as far as, hey, this is a good idea. Maybe this is not a good idea. Hey, have you thought about it this way or that way? Having partners, especially while you're trying to do things in the community who are very embedded in the community, can be a very valuable asset, because then you know what toes maybe not to step on, or maybe you find out where to dip your toes into that could be very beneficial for the things you're trying to do. And so for us specifically, Wiseman's been very helpful, especially when the building's concerned, because of the events that we can put on, right? So they are very big on helping support, like, hey, if we have a little bit of extra space and this is something that can benefit the community, we can help. We can allow the space to be potentially used to help out. We can be a sponsor potentially. Like they sponsor a lot of nonprofits in the area, who then those nonprofits come and like sponsor us or hire us, right? So there's like this circulation of support that a lot of communities honestly may not understand they have, or not have in general.
Yeah, I think that's huge, and I love how you're looking to partner and leverage those bigger companies, because I think there'd be a lot of smaller businesses who'd be afraid to do that.
I ain't scared.
I like it. But let's be honest, there's some people that'd be like, oh no, they're too big for me.
sure.
I can't even bring them. I'm not prepared. I love that you just went after it, and that Wiseman was willing to be like, yeah, let me hear you out. Let's do some stuff. Now, let's talk about this location.
Yeah.
Solano Innovation Center.
Yes.
Big spot, some big plans, some big dreams. Am I allowed to talk about the recent invite I got?
Sure.
Okay, so recently they gave me the invite. That's why I'm asking. I recently got invited to a very elite and private organization that I believe you guys are building. I'm not going to give away too much. I'm really excited to be part of a group of entrepreneurs who are looking to better themselves and to collaborate.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say, because I'm going to hand it over to Zen, who he's like chomping the bit, like, let me explain this, because you're doing a bad job.
You're talking about it as if it's not open or available to the community. I think
I'm really just trying to build it up with this mystery. I was like, I want in.
So let me just put context. So I believe, after many years of recruiting, hundreds of companies to the area, that Solano County, specifically this region, but where this building, 220 Campus Lane, Solano Innovation is located, is a great area for the following industries. So defense tech, based on Travis Air Force Base being here. There are a lot of companies in the Bay Area that are doing R&D for defense-related activities. Agricultural tech, so ag tech. There's a lot of farmland here. There's history and heritage of farming here in Solano County. Medical biotech, there's been a large push in the 80s till today of Genentech, which has now turned into other budding biotech industries in Vacaville and this region in general, and a lot of hospitals that could use some startups that could support them, as well as clean green tech. So clean tech, we have in Solano County, we have oil refineries that are either leaving or changing their mission. And so there's a lot of opportunity to look at clean tech as an area where companies could come. So for me, I look at recruiting companies as well as creating as much opportunity for startups in those industry areas. And one of the things that I'm trying to do is get like-minded people who believe in innovation, entrepreneurship, and who, doesn't matter what size of a company they are, to come here and gather, and let's talk about how we can make that vision a reality. And so part of that is, in order to get a group of people together, you got to figure out a way to incentivize those people to come together, and that's really what we're trying to do. And I can let Cam talk a little bit more about that.
So I think, did you already address the elite thing? So we hear this word, right? Like at the end of it, I think the main word we look for is like synergy.
Yes.
We are looking for people who we can collaborate with, who have the same vested interests, the same values, the same work ethic. Because a lot of times there's like these social clubs. We're not here to like drink brandy and like smoke a cigar and just BS, right? Like we are here to make legitimate changes, not only in the community, but in our environment. I keep using the word ecosystem because that's exactly what this is here. There's a reason why there are larger organizations who want to set foot here, because this is a very well-placed area in California. It's a very economically advantageous place for a lot of different industry that have not taken advantage of it, right? And so our goal is, how do we, once again, collectively bring minds together to now shift this ecosystem into the future?
I think that's huge. And I obviously am excited because I purposely use some wordage to get people interested to ask those questions. Wait, what?
Well,
What?
and when you talk about ecosystem, though, I think it's important that there's really three aspects that we care about, right? You need the startups or the companies, that they are the foundation, the bedrock of it, and then you need to have vendors that will support them. So vendors could be large or small, doesn't matter, but they also have to be here. They have to be present.
Yeah.
You can't just get a vendor from New York or Miami or LA. They should be here, be able to talk to each other. And then the investors. So we do need to bring that capital here, real capital that's ready to go. And it could be a doctor who has $500,000 available to invest $100,000 in a business, or it could be a venture capital company that's ready to do millions. It doesn't matter. The point is, we bring those people together, and once you can do that effectively and over a sustained period of time, I believe that you are creating that ecosystem that is ripe for other companies to say, oh, there's an ability for us to raise money in Solano County, whether it's $1,000 or $1 million or $100 million. So we're going to get there. I'm sure of it, with our partnership and collaboration. But that's really what we're trying to do.
I love that. I think that's huge. I think there's a lot of people in the Solano County that they hear something like this and they go, oh my goodness, how do I get involved? I need this in my life. I need to find other people that are going to run that race with me at the level I want to run it, to get encouraged, to be challenged, and who are also unafraid. Because there are businesses, we run into them all the time. And they're the people who are trying to do the incredible things, who just need a little bit of help, right? So I love that. I love the idea. Is there a name for this? Are we still keeping that under wraps?
It'll be announced soon.
Not soon. So stay tuned. We'll eventually talk about that. We'll probably revisit this specifically when we're ready for that announcement. But I know with this location, that is going to be a big part of this location.
Yes.
Be a big part of the ecosystem. I know it's a big part of L3 Media as well in your plans. And with you being the head of it, I think that's as well.
I think the historically Solano County and this region has kind of advertised itself as having good water and great lifestyle and things like that. I think we want to take it to that next level. Yes, we have a good lifestyle and place to live, but let's talk about how you can actually establish and grow your business here. And just a real quick thing, that our company, Wiseman Commercial, is recently gone into apartment development as well. So we have a 72-unit infill apartment development, apartment community called Aurora at Green Valley, near the Fairfield Costco, if anyone's familiar with that. And we are right behind this building at Solano Innovation Center, working on an 84-unit apartment community that's going to be called Blue Ridge at Sassoon Valley. So Sassoon Valley, if that name rings a bell to anyone, it's a very up-and-coming wine community, wine area, let's say, and region. And we are the only apartment community here in Sassoon Valley, right next to Solano Community College, right behind this building here. So anyone interested,
talk about efficiency.
And not to say that California has a housing shortage or anything, but I think this is huge. I mean, talk about giving back to the community. And that kind of goes into my last thing I want to talk about before we close out. And that is the things that you guys are working on and the future of your guys' business. We kind of gently touched that. I wanted to talk to you about, but you jumped a gun a little bit because I think you're so excited.
Well, we have
talk to me
plenty
about,
of things that we're working on.
I know.
So
Talk to me about
problem.
the future
of projects
of the apartment complex, what your hope is, as well as the Solano Innovation Center.
Yeah, I mean, so the apartment communities, the reason why we want to place our apartment communities right next to our office buildings, so the one in Green Valley, close to the Costco, we have two Class A office buildings next to them. So we want people to live there, work there, and, play there, of course, right? And similarly, here at Solano Innovation Center, we will have it literally across the parking lot and right next to the community college. We want to see our airmen at Travis come to our apartment communities. But stepping one step back with our office buildings, over the last 3 years or so, we have taken 3 of our 11 office buildings and renamed them. So the one in Woodland at 1100 Main Street in Woodland, California, we've renamed to the Woodland Innovation Center. The one here that we're sitting in clearly is called Solano Innovation Center, and we've renamed our building in Napa at 1250 Main Street, Napa Innovation Center. So I want us to be at the forefront of creating these spaces and places where innovators can come together. And of course, having 3 buildings in 3 counties is a first start in that. And we've gotten attention from Silicon Valley for doing so. So that's part of what we're doing.
That's huge. Cameron, same question.
So 2 parts to that question, right? So L3 Media was actually born out of Forward Learning Group, which is the main parent company that we run, right? And that is a business optimization company. And so growth-wise on that side of the house, we help businesses, we break them down, we build them up. We're all about optimization, right? And so part of that is also helping the nonprofit community here with some of the programs that we've created to help grant management, send deliverables, things of that nature. And so through some partnerships we have cooking with that, there is the potential for us to become a major supplier of training and a cohort of support when it comes to the nonprofits in Solano County. On the L3 Media side, we want to turn this into a main communications hub for Northern California and California in general. So most of the communication in California is ran through Sacramento and or Los Angeles. Funny enough, with San Francisco there's really not a whole lot going on. And the Bay Area is as profitable as it is, also still not a whole lot going on. And so we want to become that place where people fly in or drive up or drive down to get a message out, and then we can really help kind of put Northern California on the map as far as the nation and also California is concerned. And then that brings more funders, and that brings people who have interests, and that brings more businesses.
And the cycle continues.
And the cycle continues.
I can add just, we didn't get into a lot of detail about the program initiative that we have going on, but I will say that a few years ago we created what's called NorCal Venture Forum. It's a nonprofit that's focused on, innovation in the North Bay. And so, that's a step that we've taken outside of, just commercial interest. This is for the community. It's effectively a place for people to come gather to create knowledge, maybe help spark some businesses and certainly some business ideas and programs. So that is something that we're actively taking into the future and using that as a vehicle for that.
Yep.
I think those are huge. Well, gentlemen, and to our audience, this is what happens when you join with Wiseman. You start winning. And that's why this is called Winning with Wiseman. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on this podcast and showing not only me, but the rest of our audience what it looks like to partner, what it looks like to have big dreams, what it looks like to be courageous in spite of the current environment and have hopes and dreams and chase after them.
Yeah.
This is what I love about doing this podcast. This is a key example. And some of our other ones we have, I love hearing these stories. I love seeing what you're going to accomplish. And I can't wait when we do a follow-up and you talk to us about all the new things you're doing and how you've come so far. So thank you once again, both of you, for being on this. And until next time, win with Wiseman.
Peace.
Thank you.